Hello, Singaporeans. On the cost of living, do you think PAP government can subsidize the cost of living through one-off transfers, rebates, CDC vouchers, goodies, etc. just enough in the short term so that in the middle to long term, the prices of commodities will stabilize and that its relentless focus on economic growth will ensure a rise in incomes to outpace the rise in prices? Second assumption that the PAP government can subsidize Singaporeans' cost of living until such a time as wages can catch up with living costs. However, its assumptions are flawed. First, economic growth does not automatically translate to higher incomes for all. The PAP government argues that overall income equality is falling, but how the PAP conceives of and measures inequality is flawed. While overall income inequality is falling, it is mainly the top 80% who are benefiting, while Singapore's lowest 20% are falling very far behind. Also, the main driver of inequality in Singapore is wealth inequality, not income inequality. And Singapore has seen staggering growth in wealth inequality as profits from economic growth are increasingly concentrated in the hands of those with capital to invest. In general, economic growth must also be accompanied by policies which redistribute wealth, provide social services, education, healthcare, and welfare. An easy way of understanding this is to imagine two countries with identical GDP growth of $10 billion. In one of them, the surplus profits from that growth all go to one person, and in the other, the surplus profits are divided equally between all citizens. The growth is identical, but in one country, the citizens are furious, and in the other, the citizens are happier. Thus, prosperity is not just an economic problem, but it is also a political one. How do you redistribute? What do you spend on? On whom do you focus your spending? If people do not feel that their lives are getting better, then no amount of GDP growth helps. Singapore's wealth inequality has risen sharply and far above comparable economies, and there is also a correlation between high levels of inequality and discontent. Singaporeans, do you agree with what I had said so far? I would love to hear your thoughts. And also, if we get more billionaires to move to Singapore and set up their base here, do you think Singaporeans will be better off because they will bring in business, bring in opportunities, open new doors, and create new jobs? In my opinion, growth alone, however, does not mean that the profits are being fairly distributed, that living standards are being raised, or indicate people's well-being in any way. On the contrary, I think the fastest way to maximize profits is to exploit people by lowering wages and spending less on decent working conditions. I think that is the case for Singapore's low-wage migrant workers who have their surplus capital extracted from them by their employers. In the absence of proper regulations, taxations, and redistributions, I think profits are often retained by billionaire oligarchs. I believe here are things we can do. First, arrest the rising cost of living. How? Increase the availability of affordable and healthy food in the heartlands. Reform tax systems to include a wealth tax on the richest 5% and reintroduce estate duty. Reverse the GST hike to 7% or to 5% and use tax revenue for social spending. Second, combat inequality and poverty. How? Provide adequate structural support for low-income families through ComCare and review its eligibility criteria. Expand child and independent care services and ensure meal security. Nationalize debt relief program and regulate predatory lending. Third, an economy that works for workers. How? Implement a universal minimum wage reflecting decent living standards. Reform the Employment Act to include all workers and improve protections. Enact strong anti-discrimination legislation and ensure union independence. Re-examine both the Skills Future Job Seeker Support Scheme and the Re-employment Support Scheme. Lastly, I would love to hear your thoughts on all I had said. I am Ben Puah from Red Dot United. Thank you.